Phil Biedron. I'm here with Jennifer Dean. And my next question for you, I'd like to ask about your transition from acting into directing, what that was like.
I produced a lot of the work that I did as an actor because I wanted to sort of tell the stories I wanted to tell and didn't always find myself auditioning for the parts that I wanted or getting the parts that I auditioned for that I wanted. And
It sounds like you like the control.
yeah, I guess it is a bit of a control thing, which, and then I started directing after I sort of, directing film specifically. I directed theater for a while, but I started directing film after working on my master's and working on my project on female filmmakers and sort of realizing I really wanted to do more of that. And I directed my first short at the beginning of last year, which I did with a group of friends. And it was an incredible experience, and sort of being able to take the training that I had as an actor to work with other actors and tell a story.
Was that definitely an advantage coming from an actor's background, transitioning into directing?
And certainly a lot of directors, even I'm in an MFA program now, and a lot of the directors that I work with have much more of a background in cinematography or other technical aspects, and they just aren't necessarily comfortable working with actors. Some are. I mean, it's obviously individual, but it's much more of a benefit than I even thought it necessarily would be. And I found that it was a much more important skill set than I previously realized or would have thought in the world of film. Like, I've always known it's important in theater.
By the same side of the token, do you think there are any disadvantages that you've had this acting training approaching into directing?
I mean, I have found, I mean, especially because I edit the work that I've done thus far, I edit my own work as well as directing my own work. And in the editing room, I often see things where I'm like, I ignored that detail, a continuity detail or something else, because I was so focused on performance, and that was the most important thing to me. And maybe the framing is a little off from what I wanted. And so, yeah, I think that being overly focused on performance maybe can be to the detriment of other aspects of the process, which I'm learning and I'm getting better at, whereas I'm comfortable with working with actors.
How about for theater when you were directing? What would be the difference directing for the theater versus directing for the screen? I mean, you mentioned continuity. Of course, there's less of an issue in the theater. Where.
Sure, yeah. It's not. I mean, and one of the things that I said that I've said, which I'm learning about in film, and I'm learning can happen in film, is one of the things I love about theater is sort of the happy accident, which doesn't. Which in film, you have much more control. Like, you don't. And there's much less of an expectation of, like, you're trying to make everything right in a way in theater where it's like the elements are less precise. So it always seemed to me that film wasn't open to happy accidents, and I've lately found that that's not the case, that there's certain things that happen where it's like, oh, I didn't intend that, but it really works. And in theater it happens all the time, but I'm realizing it can happen in film too.
Great. Well, thank you. We'll be right back.
Great.